Welcome back to another compelling, great edition of Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. We have Mr. Curtis Bowers with us, and before the break, Mr. Roser was talking about the family. And Mr. Bowers, you were saying something back in 1992. You were at this meeting. Could you tell our listening audience a little bit about what you heard about the family at this meeting that you were at?
Well, they just thought the traditional family was going to try to replace government and their influence. And so they said, we need to get children away into government programs at the earliest age possible. That's one of the things they were fighting for. They also just said anything we can do to help get women out of the home and working so those children will be available for us to influence in the school system, the better. They wanted to do that. And like the goals from 1958 as well, that was one of their main things. They wanted to break down the family because they realized there's so much strength in it. If you have a strong, healthy family, there's really nothing for government to be doing. I mean, there's no way for them to expand because family is taking care of all the needs and helping each other. And then especially if you add a healthy church to that, then the families that are a little bit poor, they're even helping those families. So together it is a system that is that is the foundation of America. A strong church and a strong family, there's simply nothing for government to be doing.
The families have expanded beyond their own tiny units too, into a public that is compassionate too.
Absolutely.
Think of what Obama doesn't mention about medical care is that something over 25% of the hospitals in this country are Catholic hospitals. And then you've got the Lutheran and the Jewish and the non-sectarian. You've got all kinds of compassionate organizations that have sprung up from the private sector that's providing for the needs of people. It's risen to the demands that people needed because this is a compassionate and free thing. And a rich man that's looked back on what he's got can well spend it and do things that he thinks are right. If it's things that are squeezed out, got too big for the family, he may well start an organization to take care of the ill. I'm not recommending something that's never been tried. That's the history of America. It was the family and the compassion and the generosity of the individual American people. I'm proud to be an American. I've lived the American dream.
Yes.
The world has come here to this country from all over the world.
Yes.
We're all aliens from another place where they were run by socialists or crooks or gangsters or whatever they were. They came here to be individually strong and enjoy the strength that resulted from the wonderful, compassionate families of America.
Well, but if you look back and take a snapshot of the 1960s and what the family social norms were then, and then take a snapshot of what it's like today, they've been very, very successul.
Well, we had the war on poverty back in '64. Was that part of this agenda?
Absolutely. I think Lyndon Johnson and some of them, when they realized that the civil rights movement was going to be successful, which was a good thing, and the black community was finally going to be given the rights they should have had all along, they realized we need to get them on our side somehow. And that's when they started those programs. They were warned ahead of time. Patrick Daniel Moynihan, a senator, he warned them. He said, these programs will destroy the black families in America. You cannot do them. They didn't listen. They wanted the votes. They got the votes, and they have now for generations. Most people in America don't realize that even Martin Luther King Jr. was a lifelong committed Republican.
Yes.
And the black community had been Republicans since Abraham Lincoln. They were totally, and the Democrats thought of a clever way to get them on their side by giving them these entitlements.
So let me ask you a question. What are the statistics back in the 50s? How many fatherless black families were there compared to today?
I don't have exact numbers, but it is, I've seen the numbers, it is minuscule.
I think it was like 24.
24, 25, yes.
24, 25, and I think it's
65
I thought
now.
it was 70 something.
It's in the 70s now.
It's in the
Oh, my
70s
goodness.
now.
Yes, it's about 75% right now. I've seen that statistic.
Those programs drove that drove the family away by driving the father out.
That's right.
The women couldn't get the welfare money if there was a man living in the home.
Exactly.
So the guys left in order to have the money go in there.
And then you have generational cycles of that, because then the kids haven't seen the dad in the home, so that's normal to them, and it just keeps going, and it's been so destructive.
It's perpetrating through generations
and generations.
It's been so
wrong what has happened because of that.
I also want to hear about our children a little bit and our education system. We have about 40 seconds before we go to break. Can you talk a little bit about our education system with the National Education Association?
Sure. Well, every person that's wanted power knows if you can get to the young people, you have everything. You just simply have to wait for them to grow up into positions of power. So the educational system was something they started to penetrate many different people and groups of the left back in the 60s, really trying to move things to the left. And they have been very successful at doing that. There's many things specifically I could mention that the NEA, which is the National Education Association, has done to expose how radical they really are. I don't know if you have time right now before the break for that. Or
well, you know what? We're going to go to break, but I know Jack has an article from 1992 stating that the NEA is really the National Extortion Association. We're going to hear more about that when we come back after the break.